The Brooklyn Nets looking to square things up with the Celtics in round 2 of the heavyweight matchup, the so-called heavyweight matchup, opening round of the playoffs. Did you watch the second game? Perhaps not, but we'll get you caught up. So Jaylen Brown had 22 points, 15 of those 22 points in the second half, and Boston coming all the way back. They were down by 17 points just before halftime, and they end up beating the Nets 114-107. So that means now the Celtics take a 2-0 lead. And if my MALLER math is correct, in order for Brooklyn to win this opening round playoff series in the East, they're going to have to win 4 of the next 5 games. 4 of the next 5 games. So let us discuss the question. The Nets had the big early lead. So did the Celtics win it, or did Brooklyn choke it away? And the arrow on this one is pointing over towards the Nets. It's pointing over that direction towards the Nets. So I've got truancy, Knight Rider, and plot twist. And we're going to tie all of these things together, and we're going to make some cotton candy, which is about as much resistance as the Nets put up in the second half. So, A, you've been with me a while. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But one of the mantras of the show, the better story is in the losing locker room. And as the immortal Casey Stengel said many, many years before we were all around, most ball games are lost. They're not won. This is a prime example. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, they both took rides on the Vomit Comet. They get to wear the dunce cap. They were guilty of truancy, guilty of absenteeism. KD had a rather misleading stat line, 27 points. And to the fan that did not watch the game, they said, well, 27 points is great, 42 minutes. Okay. But all that from the foul line, just about 4 of 17. He took 17 shots. He missed 13 of them. And he finished the last 25 minutes of the game. Kevin Durant missed every shot from the floor that he took. Now, was this great Celtic defense? Well, it depends on who you believe. If you believe some of the media, they're building up the mythology of the Celtic defense and saying this is one of the all-time great performances. It was a throwback. I didn't see it that way. I did not see it that way. What I saw, there were a few plays where the Celtics played great defense and really put the screws to Durant, but I also saw Kevin Durant in particular missing shots that he typically makes. He was bedraggled in this game, but it wasn't necessarily because of any tremendous defense by Boston. It was he just sucked at a time you cannot suck. Now, in addition to the brick house, Kevin Durant also had he also had 6 turnovers in this game. So KD turning the ball over a lot. It was a sloppy game all the way around. And Kyrie Irving, it looked like he had ended his fast once the sun went down, but I believe he fasted, continued his fast, his Ramadan fast, feasting, right? Feasting on air, and that's it. He wasn't eating anything of substance there against the Celtics. He was a non-factor throughout the game. Kyrie Irving, I have not seen any videos yet. I did not see him give the bird to anyone or tell anyone to do things to his garden hose. So I'm seeing those things come out eventually. I've not seen them yet. Normally they come out right away. But Irving had 6 points in the first half. He finished the ball game with only 10. And he missed, out of his 13 shots, he missed 9 of them. So what is the lesson of this? This is a reminder that stats tell you what has happened. They do not tell you what's about to happen, because these guys are big-time players, and they were second-rate. Big name, little game, Verkakta for the 2 stars of the Nets. Now, on part B of this. All right, so Boston was on the ropes. We cannot stress this enough. The Celtics, they ended up getting the win, and they went blitzkrieg in the second half, but the Nets were up by 17. They were in control of the game, 62-45. I jotted down a note. I had a little piece of paper. I jotted down 1:45 to go in the first half, a 17-point lead. And by halftime, it was down to 10. We knew there's a lot of time left. But for the rest of the game, it was the Nets who were lost in the Bermuda Triangle. And we had a plot twist in this game. They whiffed. The Celtics whiffed early in the game. The Nets were preparing to put the padlock on the door, and they then lost the key. They stumbled and they lost the key. And from that point forward, Boston was able to take advantage of a very lethargic Nets team. And you got the snooze by Brooklyn. They snoozed and Boston cruised, and it was a Knight Rider special as the Celtics hit the turbo boost and activated the rocket motor and boom, vroom, just like that. That's actually how it sounded. Vroom. Now, what is my evidence here? In addition to lethargic play by Brooklyn, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Now, Tatum did not have an amazing stat line, but Jaylen Brown played well in the second half. But after that point in the game, the point of demarcation, you saw the game. You notice Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum each had 17 points from the point they fell behind by 17 to the end of the game. But more impressively was the Boston bombardment. The Celtics shot a sizzling 59% the rest of the game, which tells you not only were the Nets zombies on offense, they were also zombies on defense. The numbers don't lie, but the stat of the night, Kevin Durant, the final 23 minutes plus, 0 of 10 from the floor. But wait, Kyrie Irving was 1 of 8. So from the point they went up 17, Durant hit a jumper to give the Nets a 17-point lead. From that point forward, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, 2 of the alleged top 75 players in basketball history, were 1 of 18 from the floor. And my computer, like mine, tells me that is a shooting percentage of 5.5%. And all of the shots that were made, one of them by Kyrie. All right, last word here. So Brooklyn is wandering around, desperately searching for some kind of answer here. But how much trouble are the Nets in? So we need to pull out the MALLER scale of panic, 1 to 10, with 10 being, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving on the MALLER scale of panic for Brooklyn are at an 8.5. Now, I can't go higher than that. I'm going to tell you why. I'll tell you why I give an 8.5. Losing 2 winnable games on the road, that is a body blow. But it's only an 8.5 because the stakes are still the same. In reality, nothing much has changed yet as far as what Brooklyn has to do. The Nets have to take care of home cooking. The problem now is they have really little margin for error. They have a little margin for error, but almost no margin for error because having to win the home games, that was always part of the plan. Win the home games, and then they have to win one back in Massachusetts to win the series. 2 more chances to do that. And if you just win the home matchups. Now, there is another plot twist here as we're hearing rumblings from insiders that Ben Simmons is planning on making his season debut in game number 4 against the Celtics. Now, they still got to get to game 3, but before we get to that, we must look at Ben Simmons here. So if you're the Nets, if you're the brains behind Brooklyn, would you throw Ben Simmons in the deep end and see if he can sink or swim? And you hope he swims. And is Ben Simmons the savior? You have to weigh the positives. The positives outweigh the negatives on this. Now, Ben Simmons, I guarantee, is not the knight in shining armor. In fact, he's more of the headless horseman. That's Ben Simmons. But that said, you play the man. I'll believe it when it happens. I will believe Ben Simmons is playing when I turn on the television, sitting on my tuchus, and I see him actually out there in the game. But until then, it's all hearsay. It's all nonsense. There have been reports like this in the past. In fact, when he was traded from Philadelphia to Brooklyn, immediately was, he's going to play. No, he's not playing. I'll believe it when it happens. But he does make sense for the Nets. They should play him, and I'll tell you why, because he serves a purpose. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are going to be vilified. They are going to be crucified if the Nets end up losing this series to Boston, and they've got to get a fall guy. Everyone needs a fall guy, and this is the perfect fall guy. Ben effing Simmons. He has been driving the Mr. Softy truck for several years. Hasn't played in almost a calendar year as he serves up soft serve on the bench there, getting hemorrhoids on various benches around the NBA. And Simmons is a guy that has to debunk his well-earned reputation of being a liability late in games, that he's not a primetime player. And if he doesn't do that, which is highly likely, that helps Kevin Durant and Kyrie out. They say, well, yeah, but. They can play the but game. Yeah, but Ben Simmons, Ben Simmons had been there. Yeah, but we would have won. Yeah, but, it's not our fault. Yeah, but Ben Simmons. Yeah, but, and point the finger. And that's the way to do it. That's the way you get her done. All right, it is the Ben Maller Show as we attempt to get her done here. And we will open up the phone lines. If you would like to be part, you don't have to call. We have plenty of content here, but if you want to call, we could get you on the air here at some point. Had some very interesting calls the last couple of days, and I'm thinking that's going to continue here, but who knows?